Landing a job at the local theatre is definitely one of the highlights of 2022 so far, for me at least, especially considering how bad things were last year. The theatre is a small family-owned franchise and had been hit pretty hard by the pandemic, so the turnouts are still quite low, but I enjoy the job a lot, even when it means working late hours on occasion. This just happened a few weeks ago during the midnight premiere of the new Scream movie that just released. The late shifts always felt a bit spooky, and with rumours circulating that the theatre was haunted, didn't really make me feel less anxious about working so late. Nobody really knows for sure how the rumours started, but the theatre was a very old building with a lot of history, so I wasn't surprised to hear the odd ghost story now and then. Around 30 minutes into the premiere, I closed the ticket booth and locked the main entrance, something we would always do for the final showings, and just let people out around the back as soon as the movie finished. I spent most of my time after that near the snack bar, occasionally helping myself to the soda fountain. There was not that much else to do since the rest of the staff had already gone home and my boss just stayed in his office. The night seemed to drag on forever, but eventually at around 2 AM in the morning, people started spinning out into the hallway, eager to get home. Naturally, everyone was trying to leave the theatre the same way they came in, so I had to draw their attention to the exit around the back, and as soon as everyone left, I closed and locked the door. The only thing left to do at that point was to clean up the cinema, which I didn't expect to take too long considering there were only a handful of people who showed up to watch the premiere. However, when I went inside, I was surprised to see that someone wearing a black hoodie had decided to stay for the end credits. Not too common for a horror movie, especially since everyone else was so eager to get home, and I don't remember seeing anyone with a black hoodie at the ticket booth that night. Initially, I just continued cleaning up popcorn from the floor and binning empty sodas, but what struck me as odd was that even after the credits had ended and the curtains had closed, the person was still just sitting there. My next obvious conclusion was that he or she had fallen asleep. I mean, it was late. But then again, who falls asleep during a horror flick? I usually watch them to help me stay awake. As I got closer, I tried to make as much noise with my steps as possible in an attempt to get a reaction, but to no avail, and when I kindly asked the person to leave, I was met with an awkward, eerie silence. I tried to get a glimpse of the person's face, but as I did so, the hooded stranger turned away in the opposite direction. The whole thing started giving me the creeps, so I left the cinema to get my boss, but as I entered the hallway, I was shocked to see the door to the back entrance was open. I have no explanation for this because I am 100% sure I had closed and locked it and the key was with me the whole time. Luckily, I managed to close and lock it again before my boss even noticed. I already left the front door open once and he gave me an earful. Anyway, I told him about the person who was still inside the cinema and he got pissed that I was bothering him about something so trivial, and he asked me to get back in there and deal with it while he finished up. I agreed and headed back, only to find that the cinema was now completely empty. I checked all the bathrooms, the hallway and the lobby and didn't find anyone. When my boss asked me about it, I lied and told him that I took care of it, but to be honest, I can't really explain what happened that night. The crazy thing is, one of the seats to that cinema keeps folding down even after folding it up repeatedly throughout the day, and it's the exact same place that I saw the stranger in the hoodie. The only person I've told about this is my friend Ben, who works with me at the cinema, and after hearing the story for the first time, he seemed really confused when I told him about the curtains closing at the end of the movie, and what he mentioned next was really creepy. He went on to say that I was the only person on duty that night apart from the boss. So who was it that closed the curtains? In spite of the events that unfolded that night and my increasingly belief that the theatre really is haunted, I still show up to work every day. But I know that I will be extra vigilant and perhaps a little more prepared for the next midnight premiere, especially when it's a horror movie.